The following is an ESPN special presentation.
ESPN is proud to present first-round coverage of the 125th British Open Golf Championship. Coming to you from the Royal Lytham and St Anne's Golf Club in Lytham, St Anne's, England. The British Open is played on what they call a rotation of golf courses, all seaside links. In Scotland, on the west coast, Royal Troon and Turnberry. On the east coast, St Andrews, Muirfield, and returning to the rota in 1999, Carnoustie, where Ben Hogan won many years ago. In England, down on the English Channel, Royal St George's at Sandwich. And then two more. Quite close together are Royal Birkdale and where we are today, Royal Lytham and St Anne's. Perhaps we could place them for you a bit more geographically. There you see London and the two major cities of Manchester and Liverpool, and there, Lytham and St Anne's, as you see, quite close to those cities. Now, the British Open is played on courses unfamiliar to most American players. Unlike our plush, tree-lined inland courses, here we find seaside links like Royal Lytham and St Anne's. Well, really virtually treeless as far as play is concerned, bleak and featureless to the untrained eye, but further examination reveals rippling fairways and unseen bunkers everywhere, 186 in all here at Lytham. Even the clubhouse is different, reflecting age and tradition rather than state-of-the-art luxury as we would see at home. As for the weather, well, you see the sun shining on the clubhouse here, and there you see the blue sky. It's absolutely gorgeous. 76 degrees, the humidity way down at 45%, the wind negligible out of the southwest, and the forecast dry and clear, and probably all through the weekend. It should be terrific. The course architect here, originally it was George Lowe, and then it was redone by the well-known Harry Colt, who also did Sunningdale, the famous course down near London, and participated in the design of Pine Valley, often called the #1 course in the United States, out of New Jersey. The course record, 65, 5 times, the last time right here by Seve, when he won in '88. At that time, he also set the British Open record of 273. The green fees here, by the way, if you ever get over, without a member, you may be able to play, but it'll cost you $112, the equivalent thereof. With a member, however, make a friend here. It's only $22 if you're his guest. Now some early golf today. Already, there's been some excitement here. This was Fred Couples on the par 5 11th, putting for a birdie. Peter Alice with us here now.
Yes, Fred put his second shot into the bunker short left of the green. Didn't come out very well and hold a nice 10 to 12 footer there.
However, did play extremely well and was putting for a birdie on 18 to stay 4 under.
Again, from the perfect position in the fairway, played a bad second shot, found a poor lie in the bunker, came out about 7 or 8 steps from the hole, and hold a very good putt to get round in 67.
Fred Couples back in form, it looks like. They never left it. Now, Mr. Tanaka of Japan on the 12th, a par 3.
He's been a bit of a revelation today. He's well known, I'm told, in Far East circles, but I certainly haven't seen him before. His shirt has taken the eye as well.
Brad Faxon on the 9th for a birdie 2.
Faxon hit some very good iron shots today, and of course his putting stroke is second to none. Putted quite beautifully.
Now we're going to see the latter-day Seve, not at all like the Seve who won here in '88.
No, very untidy round from Seve. A few wild drives. This was at the 11th, one of the rare times the ball went in the hole. He's become such a wild driver now. He was never consistently straight, but I'm amazed that he can't just hit it a bit straighter.
And now probably the man to watch, Nick Faldo.
Nice drive at the 18th. Smooth iron shot. Good rhythm. He was a bit up and down today. Had some moments when things weren't going all that well, and he looked a little bit grumpy, but that was a fine shot.
Yes, it was. Walking up to the 18th green, and this for a birdie 3.
This was for a 68. And notice the pace. It just runs in. The greens are, I think, a little disappointingly slow. But a very easy pace, and these greens are pretty flat.
Here's the man who pops out when you least expect it, Mark McCumber.
He knew this was a good shot right from the moment it left the club. He's playing over those humps and bumps and bushes, can't see the flag, right on line, and he runs it up within 3 or 4 feet from the hole. He holed the putt and went to 4 under.
And that's where he is, a round of 67 today. Here's Lauren Roberts, another American, at the 12th for a birdie 2.
A lot of players are coming up short on this, the only par 3 on the inward 9. But when you can do that, it makes the game very simple.
Lauren Roberts. And now Mark O'Meara on the 13th for a birdie 3.
Yes, he's getting better and better as he gets older and older. Swing looks solid, putting nicely.
And all of this comes to play on the leaderboard as of this moment. Mark O'Meara has gone to 5 under after 17 holes. Paul Broadhurst of Britain, 5 under also after 14. He, the winner of the French Open last year. Fred Couples, you see, as we told you, at 4 under with Tom Lehman after 17. There you see Brad Faxon, Lauren Roberts, Mark McCumber, Hidemichi Tanaka, and Nick Faldo. The ones in gold letters are the final scores of those people, as you would imagine. The other is the number of holes that have been played. Padraig Harrington of Ireland there, having a 68 today. Davis Love, 2 under after 14. Young Phil Mickelson, 2 under after 5. He's in good shape. Daly, the defender, 2 under after 5. Jeff Maggard had 69 today. Mark Litton, Richard Boxall, Jay Haas, 2 under after 17. Lots of good scores. All of these people at 1 under par. Greg Norman, Payne Stewart, Lee Jansen, the former U.S. Open champion, Barry Lane of Britain, David Frost, Steve Stricker, the young American, playing very well, Eduardo Romero at 1 under, along with Brett Ogle, and the veteran Englishman Mark James. As for other Americans, as you get a look at the railway line that runs along the right-hand side there of the first hole, this golf course is a common thing at the old British links. That's where you used to get out to play golf on the train. All these people at 1 under or even, all Americans, Fuzzy Zeller, Woody Austin, Jeff Sluman, Billy Mayfair, and then at even, Corey Pavin to be watched, although he hasn't started yet. You see, the blank means he has not played the first hole yet. David Duval, though, is even after 9. Ben Crenshaw still waiting to tee off. Jack Nicklaus, even par after 3. Mark Brooks also has not yet teed off. Well, good afternoon, or in the case of you back home in America, good morning, as the case may be. So, welcome to the first of our 4 days of coverage of the British Open. 5 hours today and tomorrow on ESPN. 4 hours on Saturday and Sunday on ABC. I'm Jim McKay, reporting from Royal Lytham and St. Anne's, where really all of the Americans are trying to break an unusual losing streak. In all the years that Yank golfers have been coming to this island for the Open Championship, no American professional has ever won it on this links. I say professional because an amateur, the great Bobby Jones, did win here just 70 years ago. Let's have a look at those who have won at Lytham and St. Anne's. When Jones won, that was the first championship played here, and it was his first victory at the British Open in 1926. Bobby Locke of South Africa won here, Thompson of Australia, Charles of New Zealand, Jacklin of England, Player of South Africa, Ballesteros of Spain. Many nationalities represented in the people who have won on this golf course. As for the last 10 years of the British Open itself, wherever it was played, bad news in recent years for the Americans. In the past decade, they've only won twice. You see, Norman won twice, Faldo won 3 times, Ballesteros, Mark Calcavecchia, one of the 2 Americans, Baker Finch in 91. He's fallen on bad times now. Nick Price of Zimbabwe, and John Daly of the United States, the defender, won, of course, last year at St. Andrews. Now, let's bring in vision, as you say over here on camera, Peter Alves. Peter, you've played this golf course as a professional in the Ryder Cup and in the Open Championship. What do you think of today's play so far?
Well, it's as one would expect. The course is in very good condition. It's playing very easy. It's a beautiful day. The crowds are all here. The best players in the world are around. There's very little rough. Last summer, they had a very dry summer here last year, and that didn't do the rough any good. And although they had a wet spring, they really haven't had any sort of growth at all. So I think it's going to be interesting if we don't get any wind, Jim, at all. It's going to be very interesting. At this moment, I would say it's probably a good bet there will be a playoff, because there are so many players. I think, there'll be 67, 68 will be a very popular score today.
Could also be a record score by the end if the wind does not come up, huh?
If it doesn't, but if it dries and the greens get a bit firm and crusty and the nerve ends get a little bit raw, there's 180 odd bunkers here, and if you just get in the wrong spot, you can drop shots very easily. At the moment, it's all very nice. The main business is getting here to be here for the weekend. That's the main sort of thing going through the players' minds at this time. The RNA have cut out the 10-shot rule, which has might make a big difference. So it's just the leading 70-odd players who'll be here for the weekend. So there's lots to sort of look at and savour and enjoy the weather. It looks set fair for about 3 weeks here, so if you're thinking of coming over, get here fast. It may never happen again.
That's right. We're fortunate enough, of course, that you're going to be with us, as you are these days, regularly with ESPN and ABC all weekend. So
Yes,
stick around. You too. Let's take a look at some of the featured pairings. All these times that you see are Eastern Daylight Time, not the local time here. There you see teeing off there Paul Broadhurst, who's playing extremely well, and he's with Davis Love. John Daly, the defender, went off very early. Gordon Brand Jr. was with Moriyama and Jack Nicklaus himself. And there you see Ernie Els, always a factor these days, and he's with the veteran Craig Stadler. Craig Parry, they call him Popeye, and he's very often in the fight over here. Sandy Lyle, a former champion, and Paul Azinger. Then Retief Goosen, who's playing very hot on the European Tour these days, and the famous now, already famous American amateur, Tiger Woods. And finally, Ben Crenshaw, Nick Price, a former champion, and Philip Walton. Just some of the pairings that you'll be seeing today. As for our announcers, our commentators here at Royal Lytham and St. Anne's, Brent Musburger, as always, our anchor man, Steve Melnick with him, and Curtis Strange. And out on the course, Rossi, of course, Mark Rolfing, and Judy Rankin, as usual. In the interviews, Frank Hannigan, and today joining Frank will be Jimmy Roberts. Now, let's move over, as I said, to the man, as always, our anchor man on ABC Golf. Always a pleasure to be with you, Brent Musburger.
Jim, it is nice to be with you. And, Peter, we get a look here at Broadhurst, his second at 15, going about his business. Here's a young European player you were telling me earlier they thought was going to have a brilliant career, but has struggled a bit here for the last few years.
Well, he has, but that was nearly a very good break he had there. That ball was well offline, and for some reason it took a nice kick to the left. He's just through the back of the green. Yeah, Broadhurst is one of several we've got in this country at the moment, and have had over the last few years. Looked as if he was going to be very good, but hasn't really been consistent.
Okay, we have to everybody back up here, all the way down.
Malcolm Mir at the 18th. Now, he may be... Well, we're told he's found an unplayable line. Now, Mark McCumber was on that very path earlier today. It's only about 15, 18 feet wide where the spectators walk their way down the right-hand side of the 18th. He was very fortunate. O'Meara, not so fortunate. Ball unplayable, so it'll be a drop out. Penalty stroke, he'll be playing 3 shots up to the green.
Everybody move back about 5 steps. Just give him a little air.
This area here, thick with scrub and shrubs that grow in great profusion around this neck of the woods. Bits of gorse, a great tangle of stuff there. And just a little bit further on, the great old flagpole.
Center of the green. 190 yards.
Left-hand corner in alphabetical order. We'll take you down through the entire field here at the British Open, and you can see where they stand and what their final score has been here today as we sort it all out.
He's got a good line in from there. Of course, he's had a penalty shot, but there's some more activity over there. He's having a look. The spectators will have to move well back on the corner.
Well, I guess Bob Rosberg is out there with Broadhurst. Rossi?
Paul's ball has come to rest on some television cables, and he marked the ball. They've moved the cables, and he will place it in the spot where it came to rest. I tell you, it is beautiful out here. I've never seen a day like this over in Britain. Of course, like yesterday was about the same, but as Peter said, they're really going to shoot some low scores, and I would expect that course record of 65 will fall this week.
Well, there have been a couple of 63s done here, you know, over the years, Bob, but the powers that be didn't particularly like that, so they put a few yards on one of the tees and scrubbed all those scores and started again. So, Craig Norman now, he's second at the 17th. .467 yards. This tee's been extended, as has the 18th over the years. Good shot.
Peter, I just saw a name flash by, and that's a developing story for the afternoon, and that's that John Daly has birdied 3 of the first 6 holes. Many of you are aware that the last time anyone repeated as British Open champion was back in the early 80s. That was Tom Watson in 82 and 83. Unfortunately, Watson, who is a great favorite over here, is unable to play this week because of that injured shoulder. But certainly it's going to be worth keeping a close eye here for the rest of the afternoon on John Daly. Now we go down to Broadhurst here at the 15th.
Very dry lie, be coming up a slight hill to the hole. It's going to putt it. No way he can get a club underneath the ball to chip it.
There's really no pace in the greens. Players were saying there's quite a lot of grass on at the beginning of the week. I think they could dry out a bit. Lauren Roberts, 5 under, joint leader, 18th tee. This is a beautifully bunkered hole from the tee. Staggered bunkers on the right and the left, and he's found the gap in between them. To the 15th, Davis Love played a very good second. This for a birdie.
Actually, Peter, this is for a par. He missed the green way left, hit a big drive, hit a terrible second shot, but a great pitch.
So important. They're all important once you come to championships of this quality.
As we watch Davis Love here, Peter and Rossi, we should tell you that so far the Americans are having a very good opening round. Of the 37 players in the field, under par right now, 18 are American. An awful lot of red out there, Peter, on the course today with conditions like this. Very benign.
The flags are just beginning to stir a little bit round the 18th green. That's a drop shot for Davis. Fourth shot for Mark O'Meara at the 18th, and not easy from that side.
First round of the 125th British Open underway on ESPN. We are back with Mark O'Meara, Lauren Roberts, and Paul Broadhurst for the moment, sharing the lead. Broadhurst is now through 14, and this is O'Meara for his bogey at the finishing hole. Colin Montgomery took a double bogey here and wound up 2 over par. They had a wonderful. Some bogeys are better than others, eh, Peter?
Oh, that's like an eagle after places he'd been. But you've got to get a nice little breakdown again. Get enough of the other sort.
Mark Rolfing, tell us about the saga of John Daly. How deep's he taking it today?
He is really taking it deep. Drove the ball 370 yards here. Got a 9-iron second shot into this par 5. And he is off to a terrific start. John Daly is doing just exactly to this golf course what he did to St. Andrews last year. I mean, Harry Colt and George Lowe certainly weren't thinking of John Daly when they designed it. At the last hole, the par 5-6, Daly hit a driver and a pitching wedge. So he's had a pitching wedge and a 9-iron into the 2 par 5s.
I think that's the very best way for John to play this course. The great danger here is the out of bounds. There aren't all that many out of bounds on many of our championship courses. Here there are a lot. With his power and under these conditions, and with the rough being really quite thin, if he really smashes it, unless his ball plugs in a bunker, and unless he gets an unplayable lie in a bunker, that's his best shot, I think. Fire away.
Peter, we saw a glimpse of Phil Mickelson, who is in this very attractive trio of golfers. Mickelson is 2 under right now through 6. There you can see O'Meara now has slipped back, so Roberts putting brilliantly as usual, sharing the lead with Broadhurst, both at 5 under. On to the next page, you can see Mickelson joining Davis Love, Lee Jansen, Barry Lane, Eduardo Romero, Jeff Maggart. Maggart in with a 69 today. Fine opening round for Jeff here. Stewart firing a 70. So the 2 par 5s that Mark Rolfing has been telling you about with regard to John Daly, they are back-to-back. I guess, Peter, it would be fair to say that this is a quirky golf course. You open with a par 3, the 2 5s there on the front side being back-to-back, the 1 par 5 on the second 9. The inward 9 would be the 11th hole.
Yep, it's quirky, all right. 3 short holes on the outward 9. Here's Roberts. And there you see the sort of real heat haze as the camera looks back up the fairway. Just a straightforward middle iron. The flag 5 or 6 paces in from the left-hand side of the green, guarded by left-hand bunkers. Just line it up on the end of the clubhouse.
Come on, blow it over. Blow it over.
No, not good.
Yeah. Darn it.
17th, Greg Norman for his par 4. No, he's had a funny sort of day. He missed the putt not much longer than this at the 3rd.
We're back at the British Open Golf Championship on as beautiful a day as I have ever seen in England. That's the Blackpool Tower in the distance, famous Blackpool Tower at the summer resort there. Blue-collar summer resort. It's been there for many, many years, famous for things like its roller coaster and jelly deals and discotheques and things like that. But here, it's a very different scene. In Lytham and St. Anne's, a retirement community, mostly. It's a very quiet and well-kept town. And here is the golf course, of course, the famous Royal Lytham and St. Anne's Golf Links, the scene of the British Open Championship this year. First round going today, and a great first round it has been. The leader at the moment is a young Englishman, as a matter of fact. His name is Paul Broadhurst. He's 30 years old. My name is Jim McKay, and my age is a secret. And Paul Broadhurst is a very interesting story. He was a good amateur, not a famous amateur, but a good amateur. But he had to work as a truck driver, as a gardener, as a technician in a laboratory to save up his money. And when he'd saved it all up and went on tour, he had a total of $200. Facially, he looks a little like Nicklaus, doesn't he? Although he's certainly not built like that, Jack. He's 5'11" and just 161 pounds. But he went out on tour in his first 7 weeks. He had 3/3. In his 8th week, he won the Cannes Open, and suddenly he had a total of, in several currencies, of the equivalent of about $90,000, and he was ready to back himself. He actually became the Rookie of the Year, although he hurt his hand after the British Open in 1989 and couldn't play the rest of the year. Came back the next year, tied for 12th in the British Open. Since then, it's been up and down. Last year, victory again. He won the Peugeot French Open, and here he is suddenly leading the greatest of all world championships in golf, really, the British Open in his home country. There'll be lots written and talked about him. However, he is closely pursued right now by no less than 6 Americans. It's been a long time since I can remember 6 Americans that close, even after the first round. Broadhurst with the 2-stroke lead over Fred Couples, Tom Lehman, Brad Faxon, Mark O'Meara, Lauren Roberts, Mark McCumber, and then there's Hidemichi Tanaka of Japan. And there you see Nick Faldo, the pre-tournament favorite, at 3 under, and he's just about perfectly placed. John Daly was up there within a stroke of the lead, but he's lost a couple. After 13 holes, he's 3 under par. He, of course, is the defending champion. Mark Brooks right there, Jim Furyk, Stadler playing well today, and a lot of Americans on this board, as you can see. But that is back to the top leaders again, and it's Paul Broadhurst. So that's the way things stand right now. Temperature, 75 degrees. Everything absolutely lovely here in England. And let's go over to Steve Melnick.
All right, Jim. Thank you very much. We're out at the difficult par 4 14th. Phil Mickelson for birdie.
From about 35 feet across this very flat green. Mickelson at just even par. Of course, facing the very difficult finisher at Lytham. Phil's downfall really was the par 5s. He made 5s at both 6 and 7, and then a 6 at the 11th, so he did not play him well.
Scott Simpson, 3rd shot at the par 4 15th. In trouble off the tee. Pitch to here. This is 3rd. The tougher the golf course, the better Mr. Simpson plays. He has a wonderful major championship record. And speaking of great major championship records, Nicklaus at the 12th. This for birdie.
201 yards today, and Jack just did a beautiful iron shot in here. He comes off of a birdie 4 at the par 5 11th.
He has won this championship 3 times, 16 times. He's finished among the top 5s and has the most rounds of any player in Open Championship history under 70.
Correct.
Murayama will be next to putt.
This young man, Steve, has played an exceptional round of golf. He has played very well for the most part, but the 1 or 2 times that he has found trouble, he's made miraculous pars. He pitched to this point from very deep rough in one of the humps to the right and short of this green. And another great par.
I watched him earlier in the Japan region of the Anderson Consulting matches, and the man was incredible how long he was. Very animated on the golf course. Very much a crowd favorite back in Japan. We're looking high above down to the 5th hole. Ian Woosnam will be first to putt. Long birdie bid. This difficult par 3 today, measuring 219 yards. 3 par 3s on the front 9, plays to a par of 35. Woosnam 2 over already early in his opening round. Not a great effort from there by Woosnam. Now we go out to Ernie Els at the par 4 10th. Tiger Woods drove this green earlier this week in a practice round. And Els can play a left to right shot, which is what is required from this tee. And it's gone further right than he might like. Really can't see the fairway from the tee box here at 10. Lytham has a wonderful balance of long, very difficult par 4s and some short par 4s you think you take advantage of. This is Peter Hegblum playing with Els. He's 1 under. Another of a growing list of strong European players. Kind of came out of that shot early. Yeah, not very good from the tee there. Now Scott Simpson with that lovely pitch. He has his putt for par.
Wind kicking up a little, Steve. This hole's getting to play very long now.
Awkward bunker shot for Brett Ogle at the short 16th. Could barely get a stance. The result, a function of the lie. Now Nicklaus set to play at the 13th. Wisely choosing an iron from the tee. Simpson made his short putt for bogey. Nicklaus' ball running through the fairway. It appears to have a pretty good lie for the short par 4. And that was a Pavin for birdie at the difficult par 3 5th. So Corey Pavin, wonderful tee shot here. So a host of Americans in pursuit, but it's Englishman Paul Broadhurst with that record-tying 65 at the top of the leaderboard.
Welcome back to the 125th British Open with the flags here in the breezes, which are picking up just a touch this afternoon. Paul Broadhurst at 6 under is a leader. He's 2 clear of a group that includes Freddie Couples. Freddie out in 67 today, one of the outstanding rounds. A lot of the players here at Royal Lytham St. Anne's under par, and just a gorgeous day. You can just see how the spectators are enjoying it. They didn't even have to bother to bring the sweaters out or the umbrellas today. And we have had huge crowds here for the practice rounds and for today's opening of this British Open Championship. As you look over at the tented village and everything alongside the fairways, we go out to the 9th now. And here is Frank Nobilo, New Zealand, and what a performer he is in the major championships. I'm sure that, Steve, you've been talking about him.
Well, his performance in our past 3 U.S. Opens speaks for himself. He has been among the leaders each of the last 3 years. And this is a player whose game suits major championship golf. 9th, the shortest par 3 on the golf course. It's like turning your coffee cup upside down. Only plays 160 yards.
Steve, when you walked the course with Davis Love for a practice round, how did you come away feeling about it?
Golf course is surprisingly tight in the landing areas. Brent, it's been interesting to see how Daly has attacked the course, whereas a lot of players sort of tiptoed their way around. If you drive the ball straight, sometimes it's better just to go at it.
That's Andrew Coulthard there on the tee.
He was a runner-up to Woosnam last week at the Scottish Open.
Now, those flag sticks, they were bending in that breeze over there at Carnoustie.
Yes, indeed. In fact, Woosnam's 72-hole score was 1 over par. Give you some indication of how difficult it was. Mr. Coulthard 3 over par today.
This is the biggest international field of the year in major championship golf. Some of the Asian players coming in here, attracting large galleries. Japan television with many hours, and there, of course, a familiar face, Ben Crenshaw here with his second shot. This is on the 7th, the second of the par 5s, and the longer of the 2, Steve. But you were telling me that the wind is right, that most of the field should be able to reach into.
Now, Crenshaw not nearly as long as he once was. In fact, by his own admission earlier this week, said he wasn't playing very well, but he's hit a good tee shot here, really in the edge of the, can't tell if that's the edge of the fairway. He should be able to knock it on this par 5 and 2. It's now playing downwind. It's actually a steep slope just short of the green. You can land the ball short and bounce it on very easily. Crenshaw 1 over par at this juncture. And that's not very good.
Now here's Nicklaus second on the 13th, Judy.
Well, from the left rough, but as it turns out, the ideal position to get into this flagstick today, the kind of thing Jack usually knows when he's on the tee. Just under 90 yards, a very comfortable full sand wedge. Chose to play a running shot, and it did not run.
And we go to the par 4 16th. Steve Elkington, and Rossi is there.
Steve laid well back, having a terrible day. He's 4 over par, just made a double bogey at 15. Had 165 yards to the hole.
Look at Elkington's swing, you wonder how he can do anything but play well.
Scott Simpson hit it in the right-hand rough, coming off a bogey at 15. Still 2 under par, though. In good shape. Anytime you can shoot 2 or 3 under par in the afternoon over here at the British Open, you always look forward to the next day. And you know it'll be a little easier in the morning. Scott has about 145 yards, good angle. Flagstick all the way in the back.
it to the left, didn't he?
That's unbelievable, that shot. I looked at the lie. The lie was not too bad. And that ball just went straight left. I mean, that's 50 yards to the left of the hole and very short. Very strange shot.
Looked like the grass wrapped itself around the hosel of the club. Shut it down. Went dead left.
Mark McNulty. This is the 12th tee.
Very fast-paced swing, good strike with the ball, but superb putter. Played for a while in the States, realized his future really was back in Europe, and has been a dominant factor on the European tour. Well played here.
Back now to Jack and this long putt. Judy left this one a lot shorter than he wanted to, didn't he?
I was very surprised that Jack played the kind of shot that he played into this green, because the ball was not sitting poorly. He played from really a pretty good lie. It's from about 30 feet.
Watch out.
Well
One way
done.
to do it, Brent.
Just the right distance, right, Judy? He knew what he was doing all along.
Second shot was perfect all the way.
Two behind our leader, Jack Nicklaus. 4 under. Why was the man even hesitating to come over here to play, Steve?
This man's mind is incredible. Brent, I think he can will more good golf than any person I've ever seen.
Speaking of willing good golf, here's a shot maker.
Well, he's driven it in the left-hand rough here, and if he's got a decent lie, he can advance it down the fairway, but he's in pretty tall stuff.
Oh, that was there. Kick left hard.
Squirted out to the right. Well, that should be interesting.
Wonder if our viewers appreciate just how penal the bunkers are here at this golf course. When you stroll about out here and watch some of these fellows when they climb down in there, it has to be at least half a shot, don't you figure, Steve, when you reach one of those?
They're truly penal, as you said, and there are 186 bunkers by count. As you take a look at the par 5-6, you can see how Brent players have just decimated this par 5.
More birdies than pars on the 490-yard par 5. So the course is defenseless today. And now let's go to Crenshaw's 3rd at the 7th.
It appears to have an uphill lie, which will allow the ball to come out higher and softer. Came out too soft.
Now, Rossi, pick up on the Simpson story for us.
Well, Simpson hit it over way to the left. It's in the area of the 17th tee, not that far back, but he's going to wait and see what happens off of 17. He's going to really have a tough shot. I mean, it's just downwind, very difficult shot.
So we'll come back and continue the Scott Simpson story as our coverage of the British Open continues here on ESPN. The best riders in the world take to the streets of France. Defending champion Miguel Indurain will be on hand to defend his title as he goes for a 6th straight victory. Coverage begins tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2 and continues at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. The storyline here at the British Open. Look at about 4 names down on that leaderboard. Jack Nicklaus, the Golden Bear, is there. And on the next page, the defending champion, John Daly, 3 under par through 14. Nicklaus with 3 birdies in a row at 11, 12, and 13. An eagle on the 6th. His lone bogey was on the 4th as Crenshaw rattles in his par putt. Good up and down for Ben. Now, here's Corey Pavin, and this is his third shot.
Well, he's got a long distance to carry. He's in the far right-hand bunker. He's got a shot of about 90 to 100 feet. Oh, that's gorgeous. Terrific play. Pavin.
14th tee now with Jack.
Breeze back in the player's face here. Maybe just a little from the left.
16th, and now Simpson needing this for par.
Practically had no chance with his pitch shot. Had to pitch over the bunkers. I said going downwind.
So that is left for a bogey there for Scott. You ever seen so many white legs parading around a course at the British Open, Rossi?
Well, I haven't seen this since Turnberry when Watson and Nicklaus played. It was really warm there, and I've never seen so much sunburn in my life as I did there.
That'll come Sunday. Now Gary Player. And this is for birdie at the 6th. You see Gary, Steve, and you have to remember his triumph here when he chipped it from back there on the clubhouse up to 18.
The clubhouse here, as Brent alluded to, part of the golf course, and the player received no relief and putted it left-handed back onto the green to preserve a win. A man who thinks that age is merely a number.
Says when you turn 50, you should try to lose a pound every year.
I'm not even going to touch that one.
Laddie with all pars today, and choking well down on that handle of his putter to the 14th. And this is Mark Calcavecchia, a one-time British Open champion. This for birdie.
One of only 2 Americans to win the Open Championship in the last 10 years. One at Troon, which will be the site of the 1997 Open Championship.
Hi, huh? A little bit of a different look for Mark.
Always has had a tendency to walk to a different beat.
Now for bogey, Scott Simpson. Pavin now for possible birdie here on 6.
This will be a wonderful up and down. Played a wayward tee shot. The second got away from him, but played a brilliant third.
Wonder if anybody took Jack Nicklaus today to be low American in the first round of the British Open.
I don't think so. He got unsettled with his first putt, never regrouped. You see the result.
So here's Johansson. 2 under. This is a par putt for him.
Another one of the growing list of Swedes who are making a name for themselves. First batch had Mats Lanner, Anders Forsbrand. A lot of great players to the LPGA as well.
Yeah, Annika Sorenstam she's been wonderful the last couple of years. Now let's go back out now to Jack Nicklaus. And Judy, how's the Bears' situation here?
Well, he was standing atop that heavily roughed mound, and you might think his situation's poor, but it is not. He's caught a really glorious lie to the right of that mound in the rough, a pretty flat area, right around 170 yards. It's as good as where it in the fairway.
There's 3 birdies on his card in a row. son Steve carrying his bag. His youngest son Gary attempted to qualify, and Jack, arriving Monday from the Ford Senior Players Championship, was out walking alongside him, but Gary came up a little short.
Jack doing a great deal of his yardage work and that kind of thing himself today, which I think, helps to keep a player really focused and concentrated on what they're doing.
Is that because he's got a bad caddy, Judy?
He's going to make this caddy look good, I'm telling you.
Steve's a bag toter right now.
Well, they confer. The slightest breeze out here back into Jack's face. Really not much of a factor, though. I would think a 6-iron coming off of this dry grass is plenty of club.
Well, there is a great crowd that is, of course, well aware as they look at all the leaderboards around this course. And just an unbelievable record. And what makes it stand out even more to me, Steve, the number of times that the man finished second. I think it was like 6 or 7 times in the British Open alone he was the runner-up over here. And I mean, just look at those number of great triumphs. I don't think anyone... There's so many great golfers, so much depth now. It would be so hard to match that record in the majors. His ability to win big ones is just unparalleled in almost all the sport, isn't it? Now Phil Mickelson here.
Dead center of the fairway at 15. Pace of play excruciatingly slow right now out here. These players walked off the 14th green at 4 o'clock. It's now 4:30, and they're just playing their second shots at 15. Mickelson with 201 back into the wind. This is a big hook to the right. That ball never even scared the green. He has hit a couple of very wayward shots on this backside.
And there's a little drainage ditch over there. I think he's missed it, though. But he's in none too good a shape here.
Mark, the slow pace of play, I've always thought that John Daly liked a quicker rhythm to his game. Has it affected him at all?
Well, I don't really think it has. He played his second shot here very quickly. In fact, he's already played it. Don't blink or you'll miss him play. But he was relaxed waiting back on the 15th tee. It was just about a 20-minute wait, though.
That was his ball that we saw roll up on the green.
That was his ball that just went up onto the green. He played from the left-hand rough.
Yeah, you perhaps saw it if you were watching the green, and that's a nice shot for John, who is at 3 under now. So we go down and give you a closer view of it right there on the green. Paul Azinger missing a par putt on the 10th. And,
whoops. That one's out of play, boys. Anytime you change the configuration of the club, it's done for the day. Give me a wedge, caddy. That's where the caddy went.
Choice of club the rest of the way would be...
There's now just 13 clubs in play, Brent. Yeah. Oh, it's sad to see. This young man has fought back from the trials of cancer, and he's regained his strength, but he's not been able to post the scores that he wants, and I think this frustration seems to bear out what he's going through right now.
Like a little blade of a wedge you used there. I suppose on longer putts. Steve, what do you do when you break your putt? Go to a 3-iron, or do you stick with the wedge?
If you have a straight-edged sand wedge, you use that to putt with. If you have a rounded edge, you're in trouble.
Well, let's go back to the bear and Judy Rankin. Judy?
Well, decided he was going to putt this ball from just off the edge of the green, about 60 yards from the green. No question here. Very smooth for the ball to start rolling, and a flattish sort of green. Not much look at. The ball might die just off to his left.
ace.
There's Jack at 4 under par. Needs his putt to hold his par here on the 14th. Paul Broadhurst of England's the leader. A 65 in the first round. Jack Nicklaus now for par on the 14th. Stays 2 back of the leader, Broadhurst. Freddie Couples and Tom Lehman already in at 4 under. Mark Brooks is 4 under through 10. Brad Faxon and Mark O'Meara, Lauren Roberts, all in at 4 under today. And now John Daly for a birdie here, Mark.
Pretty quick putt, actually. Quicker than most you'll find here.
Breaking away a little bit. Now back to Simpson at 17.
Well, he's driven in the right-hand thick rough. All they can do is hope he gets a good bounce out of there. It's certainly firm in front of this green. This green built flat to the fairway. And you see it trundle off there in that little swale to the right of the green.
Jim Furyk's second shot at the 14th.
Fighting swing problems during his practice rounds this week. Spent hours on the practice ground trying to find a swing that would repeat itself. Now that sounds strange when you take a look at the shape of his swing, but he's 1 under par thus far.
Here's a young man, Mark Ferry, 4 under par right now, and he has joined that rather large group at 4 under. How low that right index finger is on that club. It was an unusual grip, wasn't it, Steve?
Yeah, the young Frenchman has shown spurts of good play, but certainly nothing like this. Puts it on the front right.
Paul Broadhurst is the leader, but right now a lot of eyes are on Jack Nicklaus. The Golden Bear is 4 under. And we're going to take a break here for about 20 minutes or so and let our cameramen have a richly deserved little break here in the afternoon. And while that's going on, we want to join our colleagues over at the BBC. Peter Alice is back there. Alec Hay, Peter Thompson is there, and Davey Marr. So let's now send you over to the BBC.
Now that's not his driving iron. Doesn't need it. That's in the right spot. Just a pitch from there. This 16th hole, driving a pitch, just 340 yards. That's the view they have ahead, the blind fairway. They've got to drive it between those 2 knobs there. Now 1 over. No, that's not where he wants it. Well, it is. Didn't get much length on that. Long second shot he'll have. Higashi now. Up. Oh, well, he didn't get far enough, did he? Look at that, and wide. Oh, that's a nasty bit there. Well, we can see the ball. Not nearly enough punch into that one. This is the 16th hole. I would, over the years, those trees that were once bushes, big difference in the view of the place. What a wonderful view from on high there. 15th green there, right at the bottom of our picture. 18th tee, 16th tee, all there in the foot of the frame. Big jam up around here. Royal Lytham and St Anne's on a tight piece of property here. There's not really a lot of space for whatever's required, crowd space.
Mark Parry at the 14th. Stays at 4 under if he can get that one in.
We saw Scott Simpson come out of the rough into the little gully on the opposite side of this green. Now he's chipped way past the cup. So this putt is for his par. About even money. Oh, that's a nice putt. That saved one. Hey, Elkington there too. He's not near the cup either. Elkington pretty sad today, 3 over. When we saw earlier that at least 50 people have scored par and better. Well, it's hard to decide, Peter Ellis, whether you get the best of the draw if you play late or early, isn't it?
Well, yes, it's... people complain early on if they're out early, but they don't complain if it's a benign, lovely, soft morning and then the wind gets up about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and blows everyone up into the 18th. That we're all a sort of difficult lot to please.
If you play late, you get the hard greens and perhaps a few spike marks here and there. Always they switch the next day.
Great admiration for people who play and win tournaments regularly, because in all truth they do have the worst of the conditions always. And I noticed Mr. Sadler's used a little bit of cold steel around the chops there. The old beards come off.
Oh.
Back to the whiskers. Just the sole whiskers. He looked wonderful with his beard, even more piratical than ever.
Are you sure it was him?
It was him. Yeah, it was him.
No L's. Now this is a putt for a birdie too. A beautiful tee shot here at 12. And he is 2 under, putting for 3 under. Big fellow, about 6'4". Now look at that turn right. Well, we could have told him that. We've seen it happen all day. You wouldn't think the green tipped that way, really. 33 out, 2 pars, 3 pars since the turn.
Rocker at the 17th, racing through the back. About 35. With a mixed bag, so 3 birdies, 3 drop shots. Jansen. Level par. He's another calm player, quite rather mechanical, you might say, in his swing movements, but he's a good sort of thinker around the course, steady player, good all-round game.
Well,
there you see Lee Jansen's card. We'll break away momentarily from the BBC coverage of this, the 125th British Open Championship, with Paul Broadhurst, the leader, with a sparkling 65 today. Here with Fred Couples in at 67, along with Tom Lehman, Brad Faxon, Mark O'Meara, Lauren Roberts, Mark McCumber, and down there John Daly is at 3 under through 15 on videotape. Let's take a peek at his second shot on the 16th. And it rolls off the back edge, so we'll see if John doesn't put the putter in his hand from that spot back there. Over at the practice putting green. Isn't that a nice old clubhouse here? Right now, let's send you back to the BBC coverage as Gary Player gets ready.
15 yards. So you need to really catch the iron pretty square. Otherwise, you're left with a long, long shot for the second. That's airborne. Right side. That's all right. In fact, it's extra good. Oh, look, the last little roll turned right into the rough. Bit of grass under the ball, so really not too bad at all. Wisdom. That's left side. Not in the crowd, but there is a bunker there. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Quite safe. And well down the fairway.
Mark Brooks now at the 12th, 5 under, going well. A birdie at the last hole. Brooks has been playing exceptionally well in the United States this year, but that wasn't a very good shot, and that could be in a bit of the rare thick grass here in a horrid place, on the downslope in thick rough. It could be a good score to get a 4 up from there.
Yes, Paul Broadhurst sat 2 shots clear of the field for quite some time, but then Mark Brooks, with some spirited progress, out in 32, an eagle at the 7th. He's birdied the last 2 holes, birdied the 10th and the 11th, but a few problems there at the 12th. And beyond that, a few more challenges emerging, not only from the likes of Maruyama and Jack Nicklaus, of course, but also from Mark Farry and Mark McNulty. They're all at 4 under par.
Corey Pavin. Well, Ian Woosnam has hit a super tee shot here at the 8th hole. He's left himself no more than 130 yards to the front edge of the green. This is a tough hole because it's slightly down breeze, and with the green being raised, it's very difficult to get any sort of control on the ball when it hits the green. So he's going to have to be very careful here. But with Woosnam's steep attack on the ball, I'm sure he'll be able to get an element of backspin from off the fairway. Looks as though he's played a very good shot here. It's an interesting 3-ball list with the size of the players. They're all under sort of 5'7", and it's actually extraordinary to see these guys generating so much power from such a small frame. But they're certainly entertaining the crowd today, that's for sure.
Craig Stadler. Now this might not come out. No, it did. He did very well. He had to almost get that up vertically to get out of that bunker. See, that's the sort of thing that can happen round here, even when the conditions are as gentle as they are today. You can find a bunker, get in the wrong corner of the bunker, and suddenly you're under enormous pressure to try and save a par or only drop 1 stroke.
Now, Early L's there, eh? I see. This is the 13th one. It caused such a lot of trouble today.
Well, Mark Brooks' ball caught the crosswind, the wind against left to right, and in rather long grass, short of the 12th green. He has 2 bunkers to go over, and the ball really isn't lying very well. Needs good contact. He doesn't have much green to work with either. Picked it up steeply and chopped down off, and really did a very good job there, and came out nice and soft, and he'll have that putt left to remain at 5 under par. Going along very nicely today. Very strong player.
Well, that was a remarkably good shot from what looked like a diabolical position.
Our third shot now for Stadler. Oh, that's done it. What a beauty. Well, he'll get away with a par now, I should think, from there. Oh. Well. That picture tells the story.
Well, he's well off course, as you can see, in the bushes. That's really I don't know how on earth he's got in there. That's a wild sort of duck hook, high, fluffy hook. But he's strode out and is looking up the fairway. Looks as if he must get it back. He thinks he can just get it back onto the fairway. Yes, we must have you back. You simply must go back. That's amazing. And an interesting lady is the referee here, Kendra Graham from the United States, works for the United States Golf Association, and her husband works for the ABC television network, Jack Graham, who is a good friend and one of the top sort of producers, directors on American sports television. And she's with this match. She was one of the first women, if not the first one, to go out on the court. Jack's not bending or breaking. He's scuffing about in there. This doesn't look too good to me, but I hope those aren't prickly.
We have a sandwich.
Sandwich.
Everybody get out of the way.
I tell you what, if he can get this out, this is an absolute miracle that he's found a lie where he can hit it. But this is one that you get tangled up with a branch going back and you have an air shot.
There's a bush.
Oh, that really is a wild drive. You notice how carefully Jack is taking his stance. A lot of people, I'm afraid, sort of back in and put their foot on branches and all the rest of it. Now he's going the other direction. No, he's not. I'll come round this side. So he's taking a big risk here because he may really have nowhere to drop unless he goes back to the tee.
If I come out that way, I've got to come out that way.
Well.
Move there. Y'all got to move back a little bit, please. I don't know what the ball's going to do out of here. Yeah.
Murayama, who's one of the threesome, has gone out of bounds on the other side. He's had to go back to the tee. Everyone there to record this moment. I was there. He's got to make solid contact, because if he makes too good a contact, he might go into trouble on the other side. Well, Jack, you put it there.
Well, Peter, do you remember his debacle at St Andrews last year?
Yeah, well...
4 shots in the hell bunker.
Yeah, he's had a bit of trouble with the old hell bunker. Now he's found a wire. Don't pull that wire.
Is it movable? Oh, there it is. Okay. Try to stand on it. Okay, that's fine. Okay,
now.
Back in here
Okay.
for this part of it, huh?
Break the wrist early. Head still. Give it a thump and hope for the best. Oh, squirted out. It went at a funny angle, but it certainly cleared the crowd. Well done, Jack. Can I have your autograph? Only got to there, so he was perhaps a little bit fortunate in getting clear.
Now, his playing partner, Murayama, this is his first tee shot. We'll make it clear that this is his first attempt. And he came over for a cup of tea with us. That's where we are. But unfortunately, that fence for him is OB. Now, he's had to go back to the tee. No option because he's out of bounds. And we'll find out where he put his second one. Well, Nicklaus, they're a long, long way from the green, I think just beyond reach.
Sandy Lyle here at the short 12th hole. He's looking and leaning as though he might have gone on the right where that pot bunker lies. No, he's carried the bunker. One of the few to actually go straight over the screen. Many have missed it on the right. And there's Sandy's figures at a very good start to his championship. Sandy playing with Craig Parry and Paul Azinger, who no longer has a putter unless he set out with two of them in his bag, which I doubt very much. Azinger, of course, who played so well, you remember, at Muirfield when Nick Faldo won. Gave Nick his first victory in the championship. Out in 37, 2 over par by virtue of the way he played the 8th and 9th. He's got a little bit more loft than most have used at this hole, but you know, well, he's going to change it now. He's going to go for an extra one, I think. And he swings the club with a very powerful left hand. He shows lots of knuckles on his left hand, and that shuts the club face down. And then he pushes through towards the flag. So you'll see that in this shot here. Playing a long fade shot. And watch what happens now. It didn't even make it. The fade there slowed it up, and he's got a pitch shot rather than a bunker shot. And from Australia, Craig Parry at 1 under. Craig, who came very close to winning the United States Championship a couple of years ago. A real gritty competitor. Now this hole could be good for him. He flies that ball in left to right, and don't tell me he's not going to use a tee peg. He's just throwing it away, just nudging it up. Punches steeply onto the ball, cuts the flight of it.
Surfer's paradise.
Well, we are back, and this is Jack Nicklaus's 3rd shot. He's playing the toughest hole on the course today. There have been twice as many double bogeys as birdies on this hole, and Jack in difficulty off the tee.
Just really seems trying to make an effort to compose himself. This has taken quite a long time. Long shot into the green here at 15.
Judy, do you suppose that his fellow competitor's tee ball going out of bounds to the right had anything to do with his tee shot going left?
I think the biggest factor was there was a very, very long wait at this tee. When they arrived at the 15th tee, the group ahead of them was still sitting on their bag.
Well, I think now they're clearing some spectators away, judging from the motioning by Jack down there. The marshals now moving them back just a bit. And, meanwhile, second shot for Daly here at 17 mark.
He's got a terrible lie in the bunker, and you could see the result.
Now back to Jack, Judy.
Moved the spectators from a mound at the left side of the fairway. Boy, it sounded good, and it's flying beautifully.
He powered it right out of there. Camera tracking it. That left for a par. So the Bear at 4 under, 2 back of Broadhurst when trouble developed on the 15. John Daly ready now for his third shot on the par 4. Daly at one time today was 5 under through 11. Bogeyed the 16th, and now he's at 2 under and more trouble here.
It's actually fortunate to end up in this good a position. Could have been a disaster. He got a little bit greedy in that bunker, I think.
So that's his third shot on the par 4. Now Jack in a bid here to save par, Steve.
Well, he's very fortunate to even have a bid at par, given the fact that his tee shot was so far out of play. The second shot seemed to come out very fast. One might think it hit a spectator to drop down there, but Judy Rankin, that was a superb third.
Yeah, it certainly was. I'm sure in his wildest dreams he didn't plan on hitting a fairway wood into this green for his third shot.
If he could escape with bogey, it would be actually a lift for him, given where his tee shot came to rest and what could have happened.
Took a little time here. Gordon Brand is over this green, and I think Jack questioned for a moment whether he would play first or Gordon Brand would, but now he's put his ball down.
Harold comes here, too, don't you?
Yes.
Huh?
Full flush when you want to cut? Yes. Yes.
I think that's the voice of the official. I recognize Kendra Graham, who is the wife of our producer right now, Jack Graham, who's been walking alongside that group.
Kendra, last year invited to the Open Championship at St. Andrews, was one of, I believe, 2 female rules officials invited for the first time, so quite a feather in her cap and a tribute to her commitment to the game.
Well, I think if I could hear it, the question was, is it permissible to repair the old cup in my line? And of course it is.
Yeah, which is what he did, Judy.
Two putts would be good. A make would be a steal.
Still a challenge, isn't it? So there's the situation. Jack is going to give up at least 1. Paul Broadhurst, that's sparkling 65 today, and now Daly to drop another one here. That bogey. So a disappointing back 9 for John Daly. And while we have a moment, let's check in with Jim McKay, who's with a former British Open champion. Jim?
Absolutely, with Ian Baker French of Australia, who, of course, is playing at this championship today and over the weekend, the entire weekend, he hopes, as he still tries to work his way out of the troubles that have plagued him for several years now. Going a little better?
Yes, I believe I have a better understanding of my swing now, and I understand that for the last 2 or 3 years I've actually been working on a couple of things that have been detrimental to my swing. You know, it's a wild game, and it does take time, and playing in championships like this where there's pressure on even at the best of times is difficult, but when you've been playing badly for a while, you don't really trust your swing. It's hard to have that nice smooth rhythm, which is what you really need when you're playing under pressure.
Now, these are very unusual conditions for the British Open Championship. We had pretty nice weather when you won the championship, but there was some wind today. There is no wind. It's different. Does that confuse people out there at all?
Yes, Jim, I'd say the weather is as good as I can ever remember. This is my 13th Open Championship, and I can never remember scores like these on the board. I think someone said before there was 50 players at even par or better, and it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. The weather, it's not windy at all. It's the same now as it was when I teed off today at 7:20. And that's why the scoring's good. You've got a great golf course, a tough course, but when there's no wind, it's a little less defenseless.
Okay, well, you have nothing else to do for the rest of the day. You want to stay with us for a while, do some commentary?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to.
Okay, that would be great. Ian Baker Finch, over to you again, Brent.
All right, Jim. And Ian, you can join us over here with Steve Melnick. We look down on the setting that is the 18th here at Royal Lytham St. Anne's.
You know, Brent, we've talked about the great play today, but there have been some disappointments, and we'll get to those in a minute as we watch Ernie Els putt for birdie. This is 14, the difficult par 4, never got it on line. Speaking of those disappointments, some of the early first-round scores, not too proud, these players. David Duval, 76, Kite, 77, Seve shot 74, Longer, 75. Colin Montgomery, many thought perhaps a pre-tournament favor, 73. Justin Leonard, 78.
Yeah, Colin doubled 18. And Ian, how did you find conditions as you worked your way around this golf course today?
Well, Brent, early on it was a little cool, but not cold like it can be. The wind has stayed pretty much in the same direction. It was a little bit into us in the first few holes, so those first 3 or 4 play quite tricky, left to right and into you. But it's really stayed pretty much the same for the last 5 or 6 hours.
Anything really jump out at you on the leaderboard and surprise you so far today?
Well, of course, to see Jack Nicklaus there, not because you don't really expect Jack, but you know, to be 4 under par, and the course is playing tough. I saw him before he teed off, and he said his back was bothering him a lot. I saw him doing a few extra stretching exercises. So it's good to see him doing well.
Well, here he is now. Ian, how tough is this for a bogey for him?
It's a little bit quick. I saw his first putt. He's gone beyond the hole, and it should turn a little right to left. No putts are easy on these greens. They're tricky. The holes are cut on slopes, and the only thing he has is that they're not very quick, so you can give it a little more of a hit.
Which is what he did right there. Steve, I think he's glad to have that hole behind him.
Absolutely. That was a great five.
We'll continue. Jack Nicklaus now on the tee at the 16th. And that one didn't find the fairway either.
That is wide of the mark, Judy.
Well, it missed the little pot bunker there to the left and has jumped up in what looks like some pretty punishing rough.
Ian, what about that rough over there?
Well, I noticed we could see the ball there, Brent, so it's probably not that bad. I guess the reason he took the wood was to get it past those bunkers rather than worry about you know, the irons being level with them. But it looked okay.
While we have a second, let me set the schedule for the rest of the week, and our coverage, of course, continuing with 5 more hours tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Now, that's all Eastern Time, ESPN. We're 5 hours ahead of that over here in Great Britain. Then on Saturday and Sunday, we switch our coverage to ABC, and we'll be on the air at 10 a.m. for third-round coverage on Saturday. Then back with the conclusion of the British Open on ABC at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So So set your alarm clocks early out there on the West Coast if you wish to watch the final round, which last year was certainly one of the best final rounds of any of the majors. I'm sure, Ian, you would agree with that. The drama we had with Roca and Daly there at the old course. Wasn't it something?
Unbelievable finish. It'll a long while before people forget that putt on the last green.
I never felt so good for someone in my life as I did for Roca after he had chunked that shot and then he ran that putt in, and the reaction. And then, you know, you got to give Daly a lot of credit, Ian, for going out. He played very well.
He certainly did.
Now let's go to Phil Mickelson here.
Well back in the 18th fairway. It's a shot of nearly 190 yards. Like so many of the iron shots he's hit on this backside, he's pulled it to the right.
That doesn't look too pleasant over there, Ian.
No, the good thing is he's got lots of green to work with. But with Phil's short game, he doesn't need much green.
Does not appear to be a happy fellow here this afternoon. He's fallen 6 off the lead. Well, now here's Tiger Woods, and this is for par, and
it has been a seesaw round for Woods. Really lost it right in the middle of his round.
Yes, it was surprising to see him take a double bogey on the 10th when the other day he drove it through the green or on the back of the green there in 1. So I was surprised to see that. But a good up and down there for him.
Great future, huh, Ian?
Unbelievable. He's a really good player.
Now, Daly's second here at 18.
From the left-hand rough, 128 yards.
That's a long drive.
He actually bounced it over the third fairway bunker there, Ian, which is 283 off the tee.
And that's a little bit of breeze into him as well. So he's hit it 300 yards there into the breeze. But a good second shot from the rough.
Daly's set to move this fall back to Rogers, Arkansas to be near his favorite hogs.
Now let's go back to the 16th here, and Jack Judy.
Well, Ian, you called the lie absolutely correctly. There is a lot of little longish, wispy grass around, but it should not be a problem putting the club on the ball. Just a little outside of 100 yards.
That's right. When you've got a wedge, it's not too bad, that rough, Judy, is it?
No, certainly not. The fact that it's so dry makes a huge difference. Wind coming from Jack's left.
And the pin's tucked in the left back corner today, so he'll more than likely just go at the middle of the green and try and roll it up to that back left pin. I'm sure he'll be happy with that.
Now here's someone who is playing very well all year, Ian, and Mark Brooks gave one back. He was at 5 under, now he's at 4. Now he is back to 5, so he's gone birdie, bogey, birdie right away to move to within 1 of the lead.
I've spoken with Mark a lot, and he really enjoys this sort of golf. He comes from Texas, loves the bounce and run, loves the wind, and of course did extremely well at last year's British Open as well.
When he actually came over and qualified to get into the tournament.
Exactly.
Now here's Mickelson.
Got a slightly uphill lie. He can get it up very quickly. For most players, this would be a tough shot. Not so for Mickelson.
No, he doesn't have any trouble getting it in the air, does he?
No. Well, came out very softly.
There's a lot of sand in these bunkers. And when you do get it on the upslope of the bunkers, there's even more from everyone else splashing up there all day. And it actually makes those shots a lot harder.
Mickelson, the third at the Masters this year. He was sort of in the backstage with Faldo and Norman.
Speaking of the Masters, here has been
been fighting his swing, as he said earlier, by his own admission, not swinging the club very well this week. like that greenside bunker to the right.
It's a tough shot there for Ben. He likes to bring the ball in right to left. Little left to right breeze, and you really want to be taking it left to right into that flag. And more than anything, if you do land a drawed shot on the top edge of that green, more than likely it'll go over the back as well. So it's a tough shot.
So here is Nick Price, 3 under, birdied 7 and 9. He also eagled the 5th and bogeyed a hole here a couple years ago. Smashing wind down at Turnberry.
A nice little shot, bringing it in from the left.
Now Nicklaus here at the 16th.
This will break from his right to left. And it's a tricky one to get the speed right because it comes over the slope.
Seemed to roll right on through the break, didn't it, Ian?
It rolled through the break as it went over the hill too fast, yes. He's left himself a 4 or 5 footer back there for par.
Now Daly on the 18th. That left his par. John Daly needing this for a 70, for a 1 under 70 on the first day of his defense.
Around it could have been, Brent.
Yeah, it certainly could have. He was at 5 under, was it, earlier? Paul Broadhurst, the leader, with the 65. Mark Brooks is within 1. Well, it's easy to find your way around a Open Championship course. Ian, they mark it very well for the spectators, don't they?
Yes, for the spectators and for those wayward drives every once in a while.
I didn't want to say that, Ian. Now here's Mark Brooks at the 14th here for a birdie.
Good speed.
Well, if he likes it and he puts his game together, Ian, he could mount another serious challenge here, couldn't he?
Definitely. Last year was a great confidence boost for him, and as I said, he loves this golf course and this style of golf.
For par. So, back-to-back disappointments now.
That was a tricky pin there today. It was really tucked just over the top of a little ridge. And
well, you called it when it came through the break. You said that was not going to be an easy putt going back.
And that may be why we didn't see John Daly before, but when he was through the green there, he made bogey from about 20 or 30 feet away.
That's exactly right, because it rolled off the back of that green, didn't it? When it came up, we saw the score. He'd already bogeyed it.
It's sort of slow up the hill and then fast as it gets over the top. And not many of these greens are fast.
Frank Nobolo's a player who stands out in these kind of competitions, Ian.
He really has. He lacked confidence in his game, and over the last 3 or 4 years, he's really come on strong. New Zealander, plays the European Tour, and he's won 2 or 3 times each year the last 3 years, I think, and has been a contender in the US Open as well as the British Open.
How about Broadhurst? What kind of a player is he?
Oh, strong. Quiet guy, just goes along. He's been in the Ryder Cup team. He's had a lot of experience over the last 4 or 5 years. I remember in 1990, he shot 63 at St Andrews in the 3rd day, the day I had 64 myself. So he's no beginner at this open golf, and all of the young guys over here really love this style of golf. We don't get to play this style of golf often enough, as far as I'm concerned.
There's Steve Jones. We certainly won't forget his U.S. Open triumph earlier this year.
Yes, fantastic. To come back from so long, wasn't it? You know, we hadn't sighted him for 3 or 4 years, and then to come back and win a major. Great win.
Brian Barnes, the reigning senior British Open champion, that competition to be played next week in Northern Ireland.
He's defending champion there. He won last year, his first event as a senior.
He's quite a character, Ian.
Yes, yeah, he was the life of the European Tour for many years. And
and a few other tours along with it, I dare say.
Well, Steve will be disappointed, won't he, there?
Yeah, Ian, he hasn't played too well this year, has he?
He still swings just as beautifully. I guess he's just a little weary. There's a lot of pressure on the first year of a first-time major winner. And he'll be back to fight again, I'm sure.
I was sort of surprised. Steve, you were surprised about Justin Leonard, who you thought was doing. I was surprised at Brian Watts. I thought he might be able to come in here.
He's really got a great Asian record. Not a lot is known of him from the folks in the States unless they follow the Asian Tour, but he's a terrific player. Below is the 17th. We talk about the tough finish here at Leatham St. Anne's, the 17th, the most difficult hole on the course today. Holes 14, 15, 17, 18, about as tough a set of par fours as you could imagine. Nicklaus coming off the bogey at the relatively easy 16th. Interestingly, there were 44 Americans in the starting field this week, down from 55 last year at St. Andrews. Talked about the difficulty of the hole, Ian, but here's Curtis Strange, two-time U.S. Open champion, with a short, very short birdie putt.
All right. It's not, you won't see too many of these, that's for sure, on this hole. He's a little unsure, as you can see, as to what this putt's going to do. It's pretty straight, I believe. It might just go a little left, and it's uphill. The hole was cut just on this side of the slope, so he should be able to give it a nice firm hit. He'll be happy with that. I saw Curtis limping last night and had a look at his toe. I think he's got a broken toe. I don't know whether you knew that.
Really?
Yes, he fell down the stairs at the house he's renting. He was playing with his boys and took a nasty fall. He said no one came out to see how he was either, but he had a terribly purple toe last night.
Well, a little bit later, we'll see if Curtis can talk hurt. All Broad has is the leader of the British Open. There is the roller coaster, Ian. That reaches speeds of about 100 miles an hour, 2 minutes. I can't get Steve Melnick to go up with me, but maybe Ian, you go up a little ride with me, huh?
I love them. I wish my eldest daughter was here, Haley. She absolutely loves those rides. So next time it's here, I'll make sure I bring her over.
Sure. There it is, up to the top now. Here we go. Get your hands up now and ready to scream.
This is like my swing on the down.
Oh, man.
Steve, you're still saying no thank you.
I'm Captain Chicken. I like terra firma.
Out now to Jack's second shot at the 17th.
Well, the third hole in a row that he has found the rough to the left side. He did avoid a series of bunkers down the left here, though. Right on 190 yards. He cannot see the flagstick. Hole cut in the back portion of the green today. Beautiful shot.
That's a great shot, Judy, from there, isn't it?
Well, this hole has a little piece of history attached to it, and our colleague Jim McKay took a look at it a little earlier.
This plaque to the left of the 17th fairway commemorates the most celebrated shot ever struck at Royal Lytham and St. Anne's. In the 1926 British Open, Bobby Jones was tied with another American, the pro Al Watrous, with 2 holes to play. Watrous was safely on the green, but Jones found himself facing a 175-yard second shot from a sandy lie. Using a mashie, that's the equivalent of a modern 4 or 5 iron, he landed his ball inside the ball of Watrous. Watrous was rattled into a 3-putt, and Bobby Jones was the Open champion at age 24.
There's the plaque. Jones, the lone American to ever win the British Open at this golf course. And so Steve, we still haven't had an American professional breakthrough and win a British Open here.
No, this is the 9th championship being contested at Lytham. You had Jones winner in 26, Locke in 52, Peter Thompson in 58, Bob Charles in the playoff, Phil Rogers in 63, Jacqueline broke through in 69, Player won again in 74, and Seve won the Open Championship here in 79 and 88. They call this the graveyard of American golfers, but I have a feeling, Brent, that American golfers will prevail at the end here.
John Daly in with a 1 under 70. Jimmy Roberts is with John, so let's go to Jimmy.
Well, Brent, thanks very much. Out in 31, back in 39, John, a tale of 2 nines. And why don't you tell us what happened out there on the backside? You had it to 5 under at one point.
Yeah, I made a good birdie on 11 and hit a decent shot on 12. I just kind of got it up in the air too much and found the bunker and knocked it out about 4 or 5 feet and just missed the putt. And 13, tried to go for the green, and it's not like our drop zones here. They're not the same. We usually get relief from the stands, and the drop zones are very, very thick with grass, and I dropped it in a spot where I could barely see the ball, and that hole you're thinking you're going to make birdie on, and I make bogey and made a great par on 14, and 15 and 16 just missed a couple short putts for par, and the same thing on 17. Just got in the bunker on the left and made a bogey. It's easy to do out here.
Because the conditions were relatively benign, did it perhaps lull you into a sense of security, thinking that this was easier than it might have been?
No, this course, I'm very, I don't feel comfortable on the tee box, and I'd rather just go ahead and be aggressive than trying to hit an iron out there, and if I pull hook it or push it a little bit, I find those bunkers real short, and you don't have a chance to get to the greens. I actually hit my driver real well today, except for a couple of holes, and it's not a golf course I don't think I can bring to its knees unless I just get everything going right, and had a good chance today and just didn't pan out.
All right, John Daly had it to 5 under at one point. He's at 1 under now. Back to Brent Musburger.
All right, Jimmy, thank you very much. Well, Ian, the R&A dropped the 10-shot rule. That is gone, so 70 and ties are going to play over the weekend. What's your feeling about dropping the 10-shot rule here at the British Open?
I disagree with it immensely. I think they've been caught a couple of times in the last 5 years. 110 or so players last year at Royal Birkdale, the year I won. 2 under par was leading after 2 rounds, and 8 over par made the cut. Another 120 players, I think, made the cut. I think anyone can win from within 10 shots of the lead in an Open Championship, especially if the weather gets nasty, which it can do.
Well, here's Ernie Els. He's at 2 under, Ian, and certainly here's one of our favorites this week.
Yes, he has a beautiful swing. What a great rhythm.
If it doesn't rain, Ian, and there's no rain in the forecast, are these greens going to get a little bit harder and tougher as the weekend wears on? What's your feeling about what might happen to the conditions here by come Sunday?
They'll certainly get harder. I think they'll get to a speed that most of the guys enjoy. I think at the moment we're seeing a lot of people, myself included, leaving their putts short. And with no rain, a little bit of breeze, I think the greens will get to be a better speed. And the fairways are hard too. It's okay if the fairways in front are hard. You can run the ball all the way in. I don't think it'll be too much trouble.
Now here's Mark Brooks on the tee at 15.
There's a considerable weight here at 15 tee. It's really tough to pull the trigger on this tee shot.
There's a bunker just there. Just short.
Carl Mason in your picture, 4 under par, and Ian, he's playing quite well.
Yes, Carl was the winner of the Scottish Open a couple of years ago and a long-term player here on the European Tour.
Second shot for Price at 13.
Just in the left rough, no problem. Ball sitting nicely. And can spin it nicely.
You know, Steve and Ian, this is an unexpected performance as far as the tipsters are concerned. They didn't think that Nick would play well here this week.
Well, I know he must be feeling bad, but you know, he did perform extremely well here last time. Actually, a lot of people thought he should have won it.
There we see Phil Mickelson has taken his game over to the practice putting green there, Steve.
Well, it was once said that's like Stradivarius practicing the violin. If you see Mickelson practicing his putting here. But sometimes you go through streaks, even the best of them. It looks like before we saw him putting through those two clubs laying on the ground, his alignment must be bad. If you can't aim it, you can't make it.
That's for sure. And he didn't look comfortable out there today, did he? So this is what they do. Out to the practice fairway or the putting green, get the speed right, work on a few little things here and there.
That's his caddy, Jim Mackay, sitting down there. Actually, Jim worked with the Synovus family of banks back in Columbus, Georgia. Took a leave of absence about 5 years ago and hadn't gone back since.
Now at 15, Ernie Els to go to 3 under. Els within 3 of Broadhurst. Murayama's tee shot at 18.
This young man from Japan is not very big, although he looks very strong, but he hits the ball an absolute mile. As you can see there, he's hit that up past those traps, probably about 290 or 300 yards.
Ian, it's been my first time to see him, and I tell you, he is also a wonderful putter.
Is that right?
Just
yes.
a wonderful putter.
He's a very bubbly personality too, Judy, isn't he?
Smiles a lot.
Yes.
Gordon Brand Jr. also in that group.
Currently 1 over par.
Another fine swinger and a long-term play here on the European Tour, and a very successful one at that.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of swing Nicklaus tries to employ. He's dead pulled a few coming in as we look at Nick Price.
To 4 under par for Nick Price. Now Mark Brooks, 15, second shot.
He's got 201 yards from the left-hand rough, sort of a thick lie in what otherwise is pretty thin rough. Ball well below his feet. He'll just try and scamper it up, land at 30 or 40 yards short of the green. Oh, and it didn't come out at all. This is a low hook. And that is going to be a real bad spot over there in front of the grandstand.
It's not that bad though, Mark. It's we could see it from here.
Curtis Strange.
Nicely done. He had something of an odyssey traveling from his home in Virginia here. After many delays, finally got in on Tuesday morning. Then, as Ian said, went and broke his toe. I read it home this week.
Doesn't seem to be bothering him too much, though. He's playing nicely.
Sure is. Jack Nicklaus back on the tee at 18 as Curtis finishes up on the green.
Well, ordinarily in conditions like this, Nicklaus will play a big fade with a 3-wood.
You know, prior to the very poor drive to the left at 15, he had really had almost a perfect record for the day. The miscues were very few and very slight.
Paul Broadhurst, 1 ahead of Mark Brooks, and our coverage of the British Open continues on ESPN. Here, did you know that?
Yeah,
that's the big action.
It is.
Third shot for Brooks at 15.
Very awkward stance to lie. Wasn't too bad. He was worried about the ball moving if he grounded the club and so chose not to. He's going to have a good 50 feet left for par.
Here's Corey Pavin on the tee at 12.
Well, if anybody can hit a hot cut into that flagstick, it is he. That's just what he's done.
Beautiful.
Well, you want to know why Corey Pavin's so good? Shots like that.
Exactly right.
Going along at level par, and great chance now to move to within 5 of the lead. Crenshaw at 14.
He probably uses yardage books less than any player in the game today. He truly plays by feel. He's got a great set of eyes. Now, one of the problems there we haven't talked about today are the flag sticks. They're only about 5 feet tall, where in the States they're 8 feet tall. So your depth perception now is somewhat convoluted, Ian, given the short flag sticks.
Exactly right. It makes a huge difference when you're used to using 8-foot flag sticks and you go back to the regular length that the members use at their clubs, 5 or 6 feet flags.
Now that came out left and found another bunker. There it is. Now at home, if you're in the States, if you go out and look at your flag stick on your green, it's about 8 feet tall. This one's only about 5 feet. And when you're out in the fairway 170 yards away, it makes the shot look like it's about 200. If you're not used to the calibration of the flag stick, or if you don't have a yardage book.
Definitely. It's a big problem for the pros when they come over.
So now Pavin for the birdie. One under.
I don't think you see too many twos there today. I've witnessed two. Payne Stewart, my playing partner, made a two there today. Hit a great shot. And another one there.
Second shot for Jack now at 18.
High fade, probably, to the middle of the green.
Nicely done. The three-time Open champion.
Price now at 14. Ian mentioned that he was playing with a heavy heart this week. His longtime caddy, Jeff Medlin, better known to you as Squeaky perhaps, is back in Columbus, Ohio, suffering from leukemia, and hopefully they caught it in time. And he received treatment as Jack Nicklaus arrives at the 18th green.
Rich, you remember there was some question whether Jack might make the trip across the pond.
Not only that, he was at 4 under at one time. Now it joins a rather large group at 2 under. And last year he made the cut at St. Andrews. He's at 2 under here at 17. So, Steve, just what you and Ian have been saying, that the string of finishing par fours are really challenging here at this golf course for everybody.
Yeah, they're very tough. You must drive it well, and if you just hit it a little bit off cue, there's some devastating bunkers, and as we've seen, some very tough rough. It's almost a par 5, that 17th. It's such a tough hole.
Now back to 15 and Brooks.
This is a lengthy putt for par here. Not an easy one. I think 5 would not be a bad score for him here. As Ian said, you've got to drive the ball and play on these finishing holes. He did not.
Drops a shot. Bit of the old roller coaster on the backside for Mark.
But a 5 on the 15th or a 5 on the 17th is sort of accepted.
Carl Mason, 5 under, within 1 of Broadhurst. That was at the 10th. So the challenge still up ahead for Carl. Back now to Brooks.
Should break just a little bit right to left.
Use it all.
He'll accept that from where he was for 2.
Now Jack for his birdie here at 18.
Brett, during a 15-year stretch from 1966 to 1980, Nicklaus's worst finish in his championship was 6th.
You know, Steve, he's playing in his 35th Open Championship here. He has recorded only 5 opening rounds below 70. Today, that was number 6. 69 for Jack Nicklaus. So, some life left in the Golden Bear here, huh? As the 125th British Open Championship moves along.